than 2 decades of practice. She is the founder and director of Ashtanga Yogashala, Provence, France. And we are always pleasured to learn from her and listen to her. So, ma'am, welcome and please unmute yourself.
It's wonderful to be here today. Thank you so much for this invitation. And that's a wonderful thing because there's only so much that one person can do, and we can do so much more when we are a community. I really like this topic today about transformation through the power of yoga. I think the main thing for me that is transformative is our ability to move from our heads to our heart. And that is the greatest transformation. But I will speak about that in a little bit. As we know, our bodies and personalities are made up of habits and patterns. And these habits are formed by repeated actions. And these powerful habits are formed over a long period of time. Some of these habits we've created ourselves in this lifetime, and others have come from our families and are intergenerational. They are from our mothers, our fathers, our grandparents, and extended families. Some also come from our cultures where we live and where we've been raised, and others also from our gender. At times, these patterns and habits are positive and healthy and supportive. That is to say that they are harmonious and in alignment to our true sense of being and life purpose, and allow us to form harmonious relationships with those who surround us and also with our environment. While at other times, these habits take us away from our true nature and our inner joy and peace, and are the cause of conflict within our relationships and environment. It is thanks to the transformative tools of yoga that we are able to make a transformative journey from these unhealthy, conflict-creating habits to those which are harmonious and in alignment to universal truth and connection to the Creator. Understanding this is a relatively easy concept, but putting in the effort to practice is where the challenge lies. In Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, it is written that perfection in practice comes when one continues to practice with sincerity and respect for a long period of time without any interruption. And it is because these unhealthy habits have taken a long time to create. Therefore, the process of undoing them will equally take a long time to uncreate. You must not expect that there is instant transformation. We must put in the effort to practice. Understanding a concept is one thing, but practicing and transforming is an entirely different thing altogether. You need to do your practice for a long period of time in order to generate new, positive, constructive habits and patterns that neutralize our negative ones and initiate a long-lasting transformation from within. Again, this seems easy, but I think there are three major elements to this. First of all, we need a technique that works, and it's not always so evident, especially today with Instagram and social media. There seem to be a lot of quick fixes, but time-honored, ancient techniques of yoga from India that actually work need to be practiced, and the techniques themselves need to be honored. It's not that we can just adapt any way that we wish. Often it is in these adaptations, it's because we're not truly wanting to do the hard work, not really wanting to look at what needs to be done. With this technique, we also need a teacher who has gone through the technique themselves, has knowledge through experience, not just book knowledge. And this is also hard to find because learning these techniques, again, is not something that happens quickly. It cannot happen in a short course. There are teachers who spend their lifetime practicing these techniques to understand them. So we need a technique and we need a teacher who knows the technique. The third element that we need is a student willing to put in the effort. Again, this seems like a relatively simple thing to say, but a lot of students turn up into a yoga class and just wish to be in the yoga class. But learning yoga is like learning any other subject, like learning mathematics, like learning music, like learning dance. If you really want to learn, you need to put in the effort. And the effort that you need to put in is a little bit tricky as well, because you need to, I always tell my students, you need to make enough effort that you're focusing your mind, but not too much effort that you're creating agitation. There's a zone in which we are learning optimally. Enough effort, but not too much that we're creating agitation. I have learned many yoga techniques, but the one that I'm most passionate about is from my first teacher in Mysore 25 years ago, Sri Patabi Joyce. His method of using postures and the synchronization of the breath and movement together create a moving meditation. From the outside, it can seem that it is just asanas and moving the body. And yes, it's true that some teachers and students just move the body and create a physical exercise. But when the subtleties of this technique are honored, it becomes a moving meditation where we use the body to go inward to calm the mind. And what the beauty of this is not the body, and it's not even having a calm mind. It's that when the mind is calm, we are able to enter the heart space. And this is the magic of all the yoga of Patabi Joyce. We live in a world at the moment where so many of us are stuck in our minds, and our minds are very, very useful tools, but they can be problematic because they cause division and they are full of limitations and problems. The beauty of moving into your heart space is that therein lies in our heart unlimitedness. And in our hearts, this is the source of creativity, solutions, and of course, love. Again, this seems like such an easy process, but it's a very difficult and long process to move from your head into your heart. But this is where the tools of yoga are pivotal to move from our heads into our hearts. And when we are living in our hearts and living in love, this is when we are unable to be manipulated by external forces, either individuals or greater communities. And the more of us that move into our heart centers, it's when we start living in love. It all starts with us as individuals. The relationship we form with ourselves is the most important relationship that we have. And from this relationship with ourselves stems the relationships with everyone else around us. When we make the effort to love and respect ourselves, then it is only then that we can truly love and respect other people. And when we are able to do this on an individual level, we can then build and grow bigger into groups, ethnic cultures, communities, and then nationalities. And it seems like as an individual that we can't do very much, but it's where all the work starts from. It starts on an individual basis with doing our yamas, our niyamas, of calming our minds and moving into our hearts. And again, as I've said, the tools for this are the yoga techniques, time-honored ancient techniques that come from India. And this is the power to transform and break free of negative cycles and build healthier, supportive, healthy communities and individuals. It is also the same technique that we can use to transform and break free of the victim-predator cycle, which keeps many of us stuck. It's a huge cycle to break free of, but there is an alternative, and it comes from living within our hearts. But again, there are no shortcuts. These are beautiful words, and it's easy for everyone to agree that that's a nice thing and let's love everybody, but we must do the work. There are no shortcuts. We must look at ourselves and see where it is that we as individuals can do the work to improve on ourselves. Thank you very much.